Popcorn Sutton, The Making of a Moonshiner. Welcome to the movie on Popcorn Sutton. The legendary Appalachian moonshiner, whose life was as rebellious as it was fascinating. In this episode, we'll explore his early years, the influences that shaped him, and the roots of his moonshining legacy. Born Marvin Sutton, Popcorn Sutton was born on October 5th, 1946 in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. He proudly traced his lineage to Scots-Irish ancestors, many of whom were moonshiners. Sutton was raised in the rugged Appalachian region, where moonshining was not just a trade, but a way of life. Sutton's childhood was steeped in the traditions of Appalachian culture, where moonshining was a family business passed down through generations. Sutton learned the art of distilling moonshine from older relatives, absorbing the techniques that had been perfected over decades.
I see my daddy and talk to him and everything in my sleep. That's a hell of a feeling.
Did you work with him, like when you were a kid? Did you have to work, on your land or whatever?
Oh, hell yeah. I sit out back there and hoed damn corn and picked up apples and shit. I done everything. Anything you must do around the house. Bust stove wood for a wood cook stove. Put in the house, pull weeds for the damn hogs. I mean, whatever it was, I was there with it. Old man Jewel Boyd, it was in the 5th grade in school. And I should have had been whipped like a damn dog for it, but I wasn't. I still feel sorry about it. But anyway, old man Jewel, he was in the war in some part of Japan. I can't think where it's at. But anyway, I knowed if all you'd have to do when school was going on was get him to start talking about Japan somewhere or another, and he'd start talking about bombs and all this stuff, and he'd start crying, and stuff like that. And we didn't have to do nothing the damn rest of the day, and I hate I'd done that. But I knowed how to get out of schoolwork. Old man Ed Rathbone, he was very religious, and he'd come there and help Mom and Daddy around the house. And when he'd go eat dinner at the table, he'd sit down right at the end, and I'd sit over there somewhere behind the table. And he'd buy his head down, and he'd go pss, 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 like that's what I thought he was doing anyway. But one day after dinner was over, Mommy come in there in the kitchen and go wash the dishes, and I was behind the table, and I was back there playing Ed. I was back there going pss, pss, pss. And she jerked me out of there and whipped the living shit out of me. She said, "You don't mock a good Lord." And Mommy is very strict about that. And she beat the hell out of me. And I never did preach no more. Up there they're having one of these holiness prayer meetings at this place. And the road went way up here, and the old house was straight down in the hole. You could stand up there and toss a rock down the top of the old chimney made out of mud and rocks. And they was in there hollering and going on, however how they do it. And we got a pack of them little old 10-cent firecrackers. We got to hold them some way. There's 3 of us. And I went down to this end and watched to see wasn't nobody looking. This other boy went up there to the other end. And this other boy, he walked over and tossed them down that chimney. And them firecrackers went down and hit that fire. They had a fire in the fireplace. It blowed fire coals all over that house. You talk about breaking up a prayer meeting, it did. If they'd have caught us, they'd have put us in jail. We run off. About my A model, that's how come I've got the A model I've got today. I learned to drive on one just like I own today. My uncle let me learn to drive it when I was just, I guess, 9 years old or something. It was a 31A model, and he let me drive it from out the back of the house, out to the main gravel road, and then back. And then later on, when he seen I could handle it, going out that driveway from my house to the roadway, he let me turn up the main road with it, a gravel road that is. And Used to be he'd haul wood in that old A model. He'd take the back seat out and he'd pack wood from the floor to the ceiling, plumb to the front seats. And he'd come off a place called the Purchase on top of Hemp Hill. And them old A models, they got mechanical brakes on them, and the brakes on his was wore out. You could hear the metal scraping metal to metal. But he'd come off right in the old car and he'd cut the switch off, and that'd make it hold back more coming off that mountain. And then one time about the A model, as a revenue officer went up there and they was going to raid the steel on the Purchase, and their car wouldn't go in there, but the old A model would, and they stopped there and asked her to borrow my uncle's A model, and she done some quick thinking. She knowed who was making liquor up there, and she didn't want them caught anyway, so she told him, said, no, you can't borrow the A model. Said, my husband's gone to work, and said he's got the keys in his pocket, which the keys was never in his pocket. They always hung on a nail in the house, and I knowed where they was. I could get them anytime I wanted them. But she wouldn't let him have that A model. I've seen Maggie Valley when there wasn't nothing but a post office and a couple of stores, and not many motels. Of course, now it's covered up with motels. They didn't have nothing in the valley for an attraction for tourists. First attraction in the valley I remember was old man Ted Sutton. He'd get out there on a wooden box he made and pick an old banjo and sing, and here's one of the first tourist attractions there was around here.
He called himself Maggie's old man.
Yeah, Maggie's old man. I have had people tell me that I look kind of like him. Well, it used to be if you wanted to go out here and go hunting, you could go over on that ridge or this ridge or anywhere you want to. Now you don't go on no damn ridge. I've traveled around quite a bit down in the flatlands and stuff. You ain't got no hills and hollers to hide you from nothing like you have around here in these mountains. I wouldn't stay nowhere else. I've been out west and everywhere. I wouldn't give a quarter acre for it out there. I'd rather be somewhere around Maggie Valley. Up at the store last summer, there's this old woman come in there, and I had one of them stills set up out front there. And she'd already got on what little few nerves I've got anyway. And she come out there and pointed that still. She said, you know you're going to go to hell for making this old liquor? I said, well, I hope I don't. But I said, if I do, I won't need no damn far, and I'll be sure and save you a seat. Oh, yeah, when I went to church, once a month I'd drop a $100 bill in a collection plate, and I know damn well they knowed I didn't get it selling taters. You can take a jar of liquor, good liquor that is, and you can get favors done with it that you couldn't buy for a damn $100 bill. I mean, it'll stand out where money won't.
What kind of stuff have you traded liquor for?
Just about every goddamn thing imaginable. Cars, everything. Well, they make a thing called acidity. It used to come in a little block called acidity gum. They don't make a gum no more. They make it in a liquid form. It comes in a little tiny bottle, and you pour that liquid in a bottle and fill it up with moonshine liquor and let it mix up and dissolve real good. And it's used for stomach medicine. If your stomach's hurting real bad, you can take you like a tablespoonful of that and it'll stop instantly. That used to be all the stomach medicine people had back years ago. And then you can take pokeberries and put them in moonshine liquor, and it's good for arthritis or rheumatism. And, well, if you drink enough of it, you won't give a damn if you got it anyway, so. But anyway, camphor hits a white block of stuff. You drop it in a bottle and pour moonshine in on it and dissolve it, and it's good like if you got achy muscles or joints or whatever, you rub it on there and it helps the pain. And if you got the headache, you can put it and sniff it up your nose and rub it across the top of your head, and it'll sure quieten the headache down. Oh yeah, about the cough syrup. It's made out of honey, horehound candy, and lemon juice. all mixed together and let it dissolve and shake it up real good. And if you've got a real bad cough, you can take a swallow of that and it'll either slow it down or stop at one. But liquor, used to be if it wasn't for liquor, that's the main ingredient in any medicine, liquor is. I mean alcohol. Back a long time ago, I was a little old kid. The old man's dead now. His name was old man Avery Silvers. He was a master of liquor. I've been told